Hey guys, what's going on? In this free Archviz tutorial series, I will show you how to create and render this animation, this walkthrough, and these still shots inside Unreal Engine 5. In this part, I'm going to go over level design and changing some of the furniture and assets in the room. How to edit datasmith materials and create a new one using a free master material. How to light an architectural space in Unreal Engine using Lumen. And finally, post-process settings. So without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it and show you how I've done it. Okay, now that all our files have been saved, let's go ahead and create a new level. I'm going to choose empty level and select create. Okay. First of all, I'm gonna add a basic lighting, so let's go to the window tab and select environment light mixer. Let's create a skylight, atmospheric light, a sky atmosphere, volumetric cloud, and height fog. After that, I'm going to add a post-process volume to the level. Let's go to the details panel and set it to infinite extent. Then let's go to exposure section and let's set the min and max brightness to the same value. And by doing that, we disable auto exposure. Now let's go to, first let's add these lights to lighting folder. Now let's add the bedroom structure to the level and move it to the origin of the wall. And let's go to the outliner and add it to the room folder. Okay. Now let's save the level, and for that I'm going to the maps folder and save it as you can name your level anything you want. For me, I've named it LVL underline main underline bedroom 1. Now let's create a new level and let's save it next to the other level. This level is for my datasmith assets. Let's save it, and by default it will be selected as the current level. Let's save all by pressing Ctrl Shift S, and let's go to datasmith folder and let's add it to the level, and then let's move it to the origin of the wall. Okay, now let's hide the roof. Select the lights and set them to movable. Also in the skylight, select real-time capture. Now I will assign some basic materials to the structure. Navigate to Hodge folder, go to materials and masters. So I've created this master material which has a lot of features, and you can get it for free. Just follow the instructions in the description. I'm going to right click on it and create a material instance. Let's move it to the colors folder. Now I've already created some colors, but it's as easy as first renaming the material instance and then opening it, and you can choose the base color tint, and you can choose the roughness intensity, and for each of these options you can select to use texture. For example, if you have a fabric or wood or a stone texture, you want to assign to the base color texture, and for specular, roughness, and each of these options. Okay, now I'm not going to go over all the options of this material. You can get it and look at it for yourself. Now I will assign a white material to the structure, and I will do that by selecting the material in the content browser and selecting the actors in the level, then going to a details panel, and in the materials tab by pressing this arrow you can assign the material selected in the content browser to the mesh. And for the glass, I've downloaded the automotive materials pack from the marketplace. You can get it for free. So let's go to materials and let's select glass interior and glass exterior. For the railing, I'm going to assign glass tinted, and for the window glass, glass clear. Okay, that looks good. Now I've gone ahead and downloaded some materials from the Quixel bridge, and you can add Quixel content to your project from the content browser as easily as selecting add and selecting add Quixel content to your project, and the bridge window will open. You can log in with your Epic account and download and add any of the mega scans you want to your project. So let's go to the mega scans folder, surfaces, and these are the materials I've downloaded. Let's add a filter for material instances. Okay, these are the materials I've downloaded. And there are some concrete materials and some parquet materials. Concrete material I want for the wall behind the bed, and the parquet is for the floor. So let's go ahead and try them out. Okay, this one I think is good. Now let's see which concrete material looks better on the wall. Okay, I think this one looks good, but first let's unhide all. And now let's rotate the sun, and you can do that by holding Ctrl and L and moving your mouse. Okay, this is good, I think. Now let's set the exposure to 0.5. Okay, now let's select the directional light and go to the details panel. Let's increase the indirect lighting intensity, for example to 5 or 10. 5 looks good. Let's rotate the sun a little more. Okay, now let's add a rectangular light to the ceiling to replicate the artificial light of the room. So let's go to quickly add to the project, lights, and let's select rectangular. Let's rotate it and let's place it up like that. And let's actually go to the top view. Let's increase the width and height of the light. So by doing that, the shadows created by this light will be soft shadows. Okay, I think that's good. Let's set it to movable and increase the indirect lighting intensity, for example to 2. Okay, now our room is well lit. So as you can see, our objects have been imported into Unreal Engine with their materials. But some of the materials need edits, and you may want to change the color of some materials or edit some others. And when you use datasmith, the good thing is that the textures of the objects have been imported and they're already on the objects, and you don't need to look for them. For example, if I want to change the material of this desk, it's as easy as selecting it, opening the material, and playing with these parameters. For example, I want to make it a matte material, so I will set it to a lower value, and that's it. Or in the case of this carpet, I can select it, open the material, and use the textures and create a whole new material for this carpet. And for that, I'm going to go to my master material, create a material instance. Let's name it MI underline. Now let's create a folder in our datasmith materials folder and move this material instance there. So this is the base of all the materials I want to edit. Let me duplicate it by selecting it and pressing Ctrl D and name it mi underline carpet. And I will open it. I will select the carpet material in the content browser. Here I will enable use base color texture and assign it to the base color texture. Now if I assign this material to this carpet bed, you can see that the material is correct. Now all I have to do is play with these parameters I have created for my material. Now I think this looks a lot better. Now this material also has a bump texture, so let's browse to it. So the thing I will do with it, I will export it and I will convert it to a normal texture using Photoshop. So after you open the texture inside Photoshop, go to image size and set the width and height of the image to a power of 2 value. And then let's go to filter, 3D, generate normal map. Okay, and that's it. Press OK and let's save this texture. Let's create a new folder inside the textures folder and name it imported. And this is for the textures we're going to modify our shadering process. So let's go to the mi carpet material instance. Let's go to normal section, enable normal, and in here I'm going to assign the normal texture I created. Now I want to change the UV size of the normal texture. I have two options. First is to go to the global UV section on the top and enable size U and size V and change this to a lower value. But the thing is that changes the base colors UV too. Let's return this value to the default values, disable them. We have an option to use normal UV, and this is for the cases that I want to change the size of the normal UV only. So I will enable it, and now if I change this, as you can see, only the normal will change. Let's set it to 0.3 and let's enable normal flatness. This parameter controls, as its name suggests, the flatness of our normal. So if it is set to 1, there is no normal and the shader is completely flat. But if it's set to 0, the normal is enabled. And if you want to make the normal more powerful, let's set it to negative amounts like -1 or -2. -1 is good, I think. This is with the flatness of 1 and this is with the flatness of -1. And as you can see, it looks a lot better when the normal flatness is set to -1. Okay, let's save. Okay, now let's change the material of these planters, and for that I'm going to create a black matte material. I've already created it, but I will go ahead and create it from the beginning, and for that I'm going to create a material instance. Let's set it to this planter and move it to the metal folder. Okay, now let's open the material. Let's select enable the base color tint and change it to a dark color. Next I will enable is metallic so that the shader is metallic, and then I will change the roughness intensity parameter to something like 0.4. Okay, so I think it's good enough, but as I said, I've already created the material, so let me just set this material to these planters. Okay, now I'm gonna assign the material for the window, and it's gonna be a black matte material. Let's also edit the material of the curtain. So I'm gonna create a new material for the curtain, and I want it to be a white fabric. I'm gonna select the textures from its material and create new material with my own master material. Okay, now I'm going to change some of these parameters and make it a white fabric. So I'm going to desaturate it, and then I'm going to increase the intensity. I think it's good now. Let's also create the normal map for this texture. So I'm going to right click on it, go to Asset Actions and export it. Then I'm going to open it with Photoshop. Now I'm going to import it into Unreal Engine, and I'm going to assign it to the normal of this material. Let's enable normal. Let's also make the material two-sided. Okay, let's flatten the normal a little bit. I think 0.5 is good. And let's also assign the material to the other curtain. Let's change the UV mapping of the material and make it smaller. Okay, I think the UV mapping on these two curtains are different, so I'm going to duplicate my material and assign the second one to this one, make this one even smaller. Okay, I think this is good. And let's lower the roughness a little bit to something like 0.6. Okay. And let's play with the specular a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Let's close these. Now over the next 13 minutes I'm going to go over all of the assets in a time-lapse mode. I'm going to add and change some of the furniture assets and change and edit some of the materials too. You can watch this part and slow down the speed of the video whenever you need to know exactly what I'm doing. Or you can skip to the end of this part. Okay, I think it looks much better. We have done most of the lighting. Now let's add some hidden lights in here, here, and here. And for that I'm going to use rectangle lights. So first let me organize the world outline. I wanted this datasmith actor to be the parent of these meshes, but they weren't in the same level. Now I'm going to choose these objects and go to the levels and right click and select move selected actors to the level. And now I can do this, and I will do the same thing for these two. Okay, let's add this rectangle light to the lighting folder. Okay, now I'm going to add the lights, and for that I'm gonna set the current level to the persistent level. Go to the quickly add to the project. In the light section, select a rectangular line. Okay, let's press G. Okay, first I want to set the source width and source height, so I can move it and put it right here. I'm gonna need a width of 2 centimeters. Border length, I think 2 is good. And let's change the source width to 1. Now I'm going to rotate it in this direction and move it here. Okay, that's good. Now I need to set the source height so that it encompasses all of this side of the room. Let's adjust the border angle so that the light won't go up to the ceiling. Okay, I think that's good. And by setting the screen percentage to 200, these light leaks will be fixed too. So for now I'm going to work with a screen percentage of 100, but in the end when I want to export animation or screenshots from the work, I will set it to 200. Now let's play with the light color, and for that first of all I'm going to set the intensity to something like 2 or 1 and enable use temperature and set the temperature to 4000 or 3500. I think that's warm enough. Let's set the attenuation radius of the light so that it only covers this one. I think 300 is fine. Now let's copy this light and put it right here. And then copy it and put one here too. Let's rotate it 180 degrees. I think that's good enough. Now notice the curtains are in the floor, so let's adjust them too. Let's set the pivot to here by holding Alt and middle clicking, and now let's scale it in the Z direction. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now it's time to play and edit the post-process volume. So let's select it. First of all, I want to go to temperature and set it to something like 6000, 5500 or 5800. Let's add some bloom. First of all, let's set it to convolution. Convolution is a little bit heavier than standard, but it's better for small projects and for cinematic projects. And you can see its effect on the spotlights. And here you can see if it's a standard and if it's convolution. There is a lot of difference. Let's set it to something like 3. Exposure I have edited. I don't want chromatic aberration or darkness. Camera, I don't want it. I don't want no vignette effect. I will add it to the final result in DaVinci Resolve or Photoshop if I want to. Let's add some contrast. Okay, now here I increase some of the Lumen parameters. It may add a little bit of cost on the GPU and the frame rate, but I think it's much better to do that. If we increase Lumen scene detail, Lumen will affect smaller objects too. Okay, I think that's good enough. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it's been helpful. And if it was, make sure to like and subscribe down below. I'm Hoj and I create Archviz projects with Unreal Engine. Thank you guys for watching and I'm gonna see you in the next one.